What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Going for Two. I am Keywan Humphreys. Game one. Game one of the Western Conference Finals goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. 114-88. They take down the Minnesota Timberwolves in a very dominant second half. The first half they went into the first half down 48-44 or something of that nature. They were shooting 31% from the field, and the second half they just absolutely flipped things. They shot over 60% in the second half and turned a 4-point deficit into a 26-point lead. Outscored their opponents 70-40. And I really just want to talk about what I saw from the first watch, because I had not gone back and rewatched the game. But from the first watch, some things that I saw, and I wanted to share that with you all. Number one, just the adjustments that Mark Daigneault and this OKC Thunder team continue to do, not just over the course of series, but over the course of a single game alone. First half, Julius Randle had his way, had well over 20 points had over 20 points at the end of the first half, only scored 2 points in the second half. What happened? It was the dog off the bench. They let him off the leash. Alex Caruso came in and they said, okay, Caruso, you had Jokic last series. Now you have Julius Randle. And he made life tough for Julius in the second half of this game. OKC, I also loved how they recognized that, okay, Minnesota is so focused on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They're so locked on stopping him on the defensive end. They have Jaden McDaniels guarding him 94 feet, denying the ball from him. Okay, Jaylen Williams, we're giving you the keys. You have to make something happen. And this was a big thing that I myself, every time I talk about OKC, I talk about what their offense looks like when Shai Gilgeous is not doing everything. And those minutes where Jaylen Williams was the guy that was facilitating, where he was the one that was on the ball, they kept scoring. You know what I'm saying? They kept scoring. Now, Jaylen Williams did not have the craziest game. I think he had 18, 8, and 5. But this was one of the better Jaylen Williams games that I have seen this postseason, mainly because of this role that he's taken on of being, okay, I'm the second option. I'm the second guy. It's not necessarily just Shai and a bunch of guys. It's me and Shai and the rest of the team. Now, as I say that, I also want to shout out Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren in the fourth quarter was great. He was just making plays on both ends, blocking shots, scoring. It's like he calmed down. I thought there was some nerves for Chet Holmgren. And he calmed down, and he just played a really good fourth quarter. Really good fourth quarter. OKC once again showing that their depth is what brought them to the dance. Their depth in their defense, the 2Ds. Because they have so many bodies that they can throw at you. Kenrich Williams gave them great minutes tonight. Cason Wallace played 33 minutes. Caruso, we talk about Caruso. Isaiah Joe, who did not play much in the last series, along with Kenrich Williams, both came in and gave you good minutes. So it's crazy. Like they literally have a player for any circumstance. There was a lineup where the biggest guy on the court for them was Jaylen Williams. They ran Jaylen Williams, Shai Gilgeous, Caruso, Cason Wallace, and Lou Dort. So this is just they can adapt to anything. They can adapt to anything, and I think it's going to be really tough. I loved the defense that they played on Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards only had 18 points, only got up 13 shots. He did roll his ankle in the first half. Not sure how much that hampered him offensively. He was still jumping around and moving, so I would assume he was fine. But whenever Ant touched the ball, whenever he tried to drive, there was like 3 bodies that was around him, surrounding him, and there were just no driving lanes. So the big thing for Minnesota, to me, they're going to have to hit shots. Anthony Edwards has seen this kind of defense all playoffs long. The Lakers packed the paint on him, and he had to kick the ball out and find his shooters. Tonight, those shooters did not hit shots. Naz Reid played a really inefficient game. I think he only made maybe 1 or 2 field goals, but he went like 0 for 7, 0 for 6 from 3-point range. Dante DiVincenzo had himself a bad shooting game as well. Nickeil Alexander, all three of those guys off the bench did not have very good shooting games. And for Minnesota to come out of this series and go to the finals, they're going to need those guys to hit shots. Because when they hit shots, it opens up the lanes for Anthony Edwards to do what Anthony Edwards does. You know, I talked about how well of a shooter he's become. That's cool and all. But when that shot's not falling, you got to be able to get to the cup. And if he has 4 or 5 Thunder players, 3 or 4 Thunder players in the paint waiting for him, it's going to be impossible to get the job done. You know? So I'm not naive. You know, I'm not going to overreact to game one. I know that's always the thing that we like to say, don't overreact to game one. But, you know, it might just be too much. It might just be too much for the Timberwolves. You know, the Thunder, this is a really good team, man. Shai Gilgeous had, you know, a 30-point performance, 11 for 14 from the free throw line. Of course, he's going to get to the line, 10 for 27 from the field. Defensively against him, this is the kind of game you'd rather have him have. Inefficient. He got 30, but he got 11 14 field goal attempts, 14 free throw attempts, but he did not shoot the ball well by no means. I think Jaylen Williams did a great job defending him until he got too antsy and had some very dumb fouls, being very undisciplined with his hands on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's drives. But as far as I'm concerned, this is how you want it to be. You know, they put up 116 points. But some of those points were just, you know, the game is over and, okay, we've kind of just thrown a towel, and they keep piling it on. But midway through the fourth quarter, it was 96-84. You know, and OKC, this is one of the best offenses offensively, you know, statistically in the regular season. You hold them to that 96 to 105 range, you played a good defensive game against them. You know? But I want to see in game 2, I want to see how Chris Finch, how he adjusts. You know, me personally, I don't want to see no Rudy Gobert minutes. I know he has to play. But I don't want to see Rudy Gobert play for too long. Offensively, this guy is horrible. I mean, whenever he touches the ball, you have to hold your breath if you're a Minnesota Timberwolves fan because you don't know what's going to happen. This man had a play where Dante DiVincenzo dropped the ball off to him, and he had a layup or a dunk, and it turns into a no-look shot. How does that happen? You know what I'm saying? Now, I know Naz Reid played a bad game, and if Naz Reid's going to play bad offensively, you got to keep in Rudy Gobert, because Rudy Gobert on the defensive end is still a plus, you know. But if Naz Reid is going offensively, then I say let Rudy sit. Let him sit. But I am interested to see how Chris Finch and this Minnesota Timberwolves team responds to the game 1 loss, because there are definitely some adjustments to make. They turned the ball over 19 times today. So just as good as OKC played, Minnesota played a very bad second half as well. So we just got to see what happens, man. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts on game 1. Until next time, going for 2. We out of here.